Guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. All right, guys, so I wanted to tell you about something that's going viral on the internet right now, and I think is a very interesting conversation. So I wanted to tell you guys about it so you can formulate your thoughts on it. I don't think it's something that I don't know how far it's going to go. We never know how far these things will go, but I think it's a very interesting thing to muse about. Somebody sent me a screenshot of a tweet, and the tweet said that marriage licenses in the United States should expire after a certain time to see if both people still want to maintain the agreement. Okay? So I read it, and a lot of people are agreeing with it. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite YouTubers, Derek Jackson, that's my man's. I love him. He has some great videos. But I had to disagree with him today for the first time ever because he thinks it's a great idea, and I think it's awful. And I'm going to tell you why. Having to renew your marriage license every 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, to me, is problematic because all it's doing is giving the government an opportunity to make more money off your relationship. That's all it's doing. There's no benefit to your relationship that you have to keep renewing your marriage license. There's no benefit to you. There's no benefit to your marriage. All that is going to do is add a couple $100 to your budget, basically, because every professional license does have to be renewed. Your passport, which is basically a traveling license, your driver's license. If you're a professional, many of those licenses, such as nursing, teaching, many of those have to be renewed as well. So it does make sense to me what she's saying, even though some people are questioning why this young lady made this statement about the marriage license. Some people are saying that she's dating a married man and she wants him to have an easy way out. That's the jokey joke that's going around. But I'm not really sure. She might be married and just honestly believe that that's the best way to go. I haven't heard anything from her side yet. So I'm very interested to say why she made that statement. But regardless of its logic, because it is a logical statement, I just don't think it's a good idea. I think it's going to, like I said before, allow the government to charge you $100, $200 to renew the same way they charge you to renew everything else. And I also don't think it's going to help the relationship because Derek was saying that you would have to reevaluate the relationship in order to renew the marriage license. And I agree with that part. That's 100% true. You would have to periodically reevaluate and re-agree to continue the relationship. But think about what happens in the meantime. Let's say the two of you agree, but you don't have the money. How many times has it been a financial hassle to have to renew one of your professional licenses? Or something that you had to sacrifice one thing to be able to do it. Like, for example, when my passport had to be renewed, it was like $100. Now, mind you, I had the $100, but I had to use it from something else that I wanted more, you see, to renew the damn passport. So all it's going to be is more of that. And then let's take it a little step further. What about when you don't have the money? What about when you can't renew it? What if you can't renew it and you make plans to renew it next month and your spouse dies in the meantime? Now they don't want to honor your marriage license because it was null and void when the person died. Now they're at the hospital telling you you can't make the final arrangements because your marriage license expired 30 days ago. See, this is not something, you got to think about things on a deep level. This is not something that I would trust in the least bit. All they're going to do is make it harder for you to be in your marriage, basically. And like I said, it's not helping your marriage. They're going to start saying, oh, well, it has to be renewed for you to file jointly in your taxes. It's going to have to be renewed and up to date for you to get all kinds of discounts on your insurance and benefits and things like that. All they're going to do is take advantage of it to squeeze you for more money. That's all that's going to happen. And it's not going to help your relationship. Because if the person married you the first time, it's not to say they're going to want to keep on renewing it, but shit, they can divorce you at any time. So it's not helping anybody or anything. Likewise, I think that if we were going to do it, we need to change the system of marriage. First of all, in order to get a license, you have to study and take a test. So in order to get married, I'm proposing, if they were going to do this, that you would need to take a test. You and the person that you're going to marry need to take classes on parenting, on communication, on mental health. Okay? If we're going to do this, let's do it. Okay? I want a year or two of classes for every couple who's intending to get married. And then they need to pass the test, a test on those topics to actually get the marriage license, to get married, and then continue to renew it every 5, 6, 10 years. That I can agree to. Because at least if we do that added part to it, then it makes it functional. Because a lot of people get married not knowing what they're getting into. A lot of people are not ready to be a parent. A lot of people have no life skills when they get married. Some women can't cook. Some men can't cook. Some people can't clean. They don't know any of the things. They have no good communication skills. So if we're going to do this, let's do it. Let's put in some things that at least make it functional. So you have 2 years of classes. You pass the test. At least you're equipped. Now, that's not to say that you're going to do a good job. That's not to say you're not going to get divorced, but at least it gives us more of a chance that you might make it. Then the license makes sense, and it makes sense to renew it, because when you renew it, you have to take, like we did in the school district, workshops before you can renew your license. So you got to go to a workshop around the time it's time to renew to see where you are in your marriage skills. So now every 5 years, every 10 years or so, you're, brushing up on your skills. Maybe even need to see a therapist, a marriage therapist, as part of, this renewal process. Now, mind you, I still think it's only going to make it more expensive, and it's still going to make it problematic in the areas that I mentioned before. But at least now it's functional, and we're not just doing it to have a check and balance on where we are in the relationship with no real work going into the relationship. Now there is some work going in. There's some classes. There's some learning going in. So at least if I meet you and I say to myself, well, okay, he passed the classes, she passed the classes, she passed the tests, okay, at least I know they know what to do. Not to say that they're going to do it, but at least I know they know what to do. So I'm going to say that's a big no for me to the marriage license needing to be renewed. I'm going to say it's a big no unless we're going to put in some checks and balances and some, classes and things like I said before. If we're not going to add the whole package, if we're not going to redo the package, then the license renewal itself is only going to be another obstacle in your relationship. And let's face it, we don't need more government interference in our personal relationships. Now, if there's abuse going on and you get the government involved, then I agree. If somebody's being abused, a child or a person, or if somebody, something like that, got to call the cops, got to do what you got to do. I agree with that. I have no problems with that. But getting the government involved in your marriage even further than they already are, marriage is already a legal contract. Somebody said to me earlier, marriage is about love. Yeah, it is. It's about love. It's about spirituality, but it's also about that paper. It's also about that legal binding contract. The government is already up in your relationship. Why you want them to be up in it more? So to the young lady who had this idea, It makes logical sense if we're going to work it right. But if we're not going to work it right, it's just more bureaucracy and red tape. You feel me? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you would like to get a tarot reading, please email me and I will give you an appointment immediately. If you would like to become one of my patrons on Patreon, please check underneath here because you'll see all that information underneath the video. Thanks for being here and happy Sunday. Bye-bye.